everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be recommending my favorite fantasy romance books of all time because it is one of my favorite genres and definitely my most read one. I love books that have both a high stakes plot and everything that comes with romance, and seeing how I love romantasy books so much, I've created a list of the best ones I've read so far, and there are a lot of recommendations, so let's get started. The first series is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and I love this book series so much. It is popular for good reason, and it's about a 19-year-old mortal named Feyre who one day hunts down and kills a wolf, not knowing that the wolf is actually Fae, and as punishment she is taken to the Spring Court. The first book resembles a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but the second book is by far my favorite, and this series has some of the best romance and banter out of anything I've ever read. If you love romance with an extremely high stakes plot, you will love this series. The next series is Throne of Glass, also by Sarah J. Maas, and it features a strong female main character named Celaena Sardothien, who is an accomplished assassin competing in a deadly tournament to become the king's new champion. And she is also fighting for her freedom. At the same time, there are many darker plots going on, and they all tie back to her somehow. If you are someone that likes a high stakes fantasy romance with tons of plot twists and a lot of strong characters, then you will definitely love this series. I was hooked through the entire series, and this is also enemies to lovers. The next series is The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen, and I absolutely love this series. It's a Greek mythology retelling where the 12 gods of Olympus no longer fight each other and instead choose mortals to fight on their behalf in these deadly games in order to choose who will be the next ruler of Olympus. The main character is a woman named Lyra who is cursed to be unlovable, but one day she runs into Hades, and the next thing she knows, he selects her to represent him in the upcoming games. She doesn't know why he would select her of all people to represent him because she doesn't have any extraordinary abilities that would help her win. However, she has no choice but to agree, and this book was so entertaining. This book had such a good amount of banter and tension, and I am so excited for the second book. If you are someone that likes a perfect blend of fantasy and romance, then you will also love this book. The next book is Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Maas, and it is also a Greek mythology retelling. It's about a girl named Alexis who discovers that she has immortal Spartan blood in her, and therefore is forced to train at this deadly Spartan war academy, where she meets several powerful love interests and has to compete in these deadly trials to prove her worth. This book is enemies to lovers and has some of the most banter that I've ever read compact in a single book. Even though this is a dark romantasy book, there were several plot twists, and I am so excited for the second one. The next book is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and this series most closely resembles the best kind of fairy tale retelling. It's about a girl named Evangeline Fox who makes a deal with Jax, who is the Prince of Hearts, to stop the wedding between her stepsister and the man that she loves in exchange for 3 deadly kisses to be given at his time and choosing. And she doesn't realize until too late what she's gotten herself into with this deal. This series is enemies to lovers, villain gets the girl, and is one of my favorite romantic fantasy series of all time. The next series is Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and the best way to describe this series is the fantasy romance version of The Hunger Games. This book is filled with banter, and it's about a girl named Peyton who is an ordinary with no powers, living in a world where ordinaries are forbidden and killed by the elites, which are those with powers. Not long after she saves the life of an elite prince, she is chosen to participate in the Purging Trials, which are the kingdom's deadly trials to showcase the elite's powers. But Peyton is really smart, and she has to fight for her survival and for the other ordinaries out there, and I really liked how this book was super fast paced. If you like books with a lot of banter and just a really good fantasy romance, then you will also really like this series. The next series is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and this is the series that started my obsession with fantasy, romance, and with fae. It's about a mortal girl named Jude who is kidnapped and taken to Fairy at a really young age, and she has to find a way to survive in this cruel environment because the Fae are powerful and vicious and see mortals as weak and things to be played with. What I loved about Jude is that she is such a smart and ambitious main character who wants to more than just survive in this world but absolutely thrive in it. This book had so many plot twists and is the definition of enemies to lovers. This is a series that I will always recommend because it is genuinely one of the best. Next up is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, and this is is one of my favorite series because it has so many of my favorite tropes and a high stakes plot. If you haven't read this series yet, it is hyped up for a reason, and it's about Violet Sorrengail, who is forced to become a dragon rider, and in order to become a rider she has to pass these deadly tests and train at a war academy where she meets Xaden Rierson, who is the son of a traitor, and they start off enemies at first sight, and I love the tension between them and the banter, as well as everything else about the book. But while Violet is training to become a rider, there are many darker forces at play. If you are someone that likes a really high stakes plot and a really entertaining romance, then you need to read this book. Next is The Silver Elite by Dani Francis, and it is a dystopian fantasy romance about Ren Darlington, who is the main character, and she possesses these incredibly powerful and dangerous powers. And in this world, those with powers are hunted and killed by Silver Elites, and when Ren's uncle is killed for allegedly having powers, Ren decides to get her revenge by infiltrating the Silver Elite, which are the kingdom's deadliest fighters, and become a spy for the rebellion. But while competing to be an elite, Ren meets Cross Redden, who is one of the most powerful elites, and the two immediately hit it off as enemies, and I really love this book for all of its banter and tension. As someone who really likes competition-styled books, this was a really good read. Next up is the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi, and I love this series for Erin Warner and all of its amazing tropes. It's about a girl named Juliet who is imprisoned by the Reestablishment, which is basically the government, because she has these deadly powers that she doesn't know how to control, and when she's finally let out of prison, it's to become a weapon for the Reestablishment, and she has to become stronger in order to survive and protect those that she loves. And not to mention, this book has one of my favorite romances of all time. I love a misunderstood villain, and as far as this series goes, it has everything that I could ask for. Next up is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, and what I love about all of her books is that she is such an immersive writer. I feel like I am in the worlds that she is creating, and the magic in this world essentially comes from tarot cards, which give the owners powers depending on which card they possess. And Elspeth Spindle, who is the main character, has a monster living inside of her head, and she is perhaps the key to finding the most powerful and sought after card. If you like a dark fantasy romance with a thick plot, then you will definitely love her series. Next is The Night and the Moth, also by Rachel Gillig. It is her new series and it is so good. It's about a girl named Sybil Delling who can see glimpses of the future, and one day when her friends go missing at the temple where she dreams, she sets out on a quest to find them and is joined by a really funny and sarcastic knight named Rory, who is also on a separate quest that is dangerous and deadly, and their paths are somehow tied together on this journey. And throughout the book, Sybil realizes that there are many dark secrets that she is yet to uncover. This is even more of a romance book than One Dark Window, and it had so many plot twists that kept me super invested and left me shocked at the end. I am super looking forward to the second book, and I highly recommend this one. Next is Phantasma by Kaylee Smith, and this is a dark romantasy about a woman named Ophelia who inherits this enormous debt when her mother dies, and she has no choice but to enter Phantasma, which are these deadly games in which the winner is granted any wish of their choosing. Ophelia is not prepared to survive the games and has no choice but to team up with Blackwell, who is this mysterious stranger that makes a deal with her to help her survive the trials, while Ophelia tries not to do the one thing that is even deadlier than losing the game, which is falling in love. If you love romantasy books with magical worlds and entertaining plot twists, then you will also really enjoy this book. The last book and one of my favorites is Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brennan, and it is a villain gets the girl with so many witty characters, and it's about a woman named Ray who is dying of stage 4 cancer when she's given a chance to live inside of her favorite fantasy series, which is just an alternate world. She takes the chance to live, but when she arrives in the world, she realizes that she's not there as the hero, but she's actually there as the villain. And this was by far one of the most entertaining books that I've ever read. It's also recommended by both Holly Black and Leah Bardugo, two of my favorite authors, and this book is filled with so much banter and so many plot twists. This book has one of my favorite love interests, and I highly recommend this book. Those are all of the book recs I have for today. If you have any recommendations, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.